Peter Kane was one of Britain's most incredible inventors of magic, and what we're going to share with you now is a concept and routine of his called Variant. But not just the original Variant routine, we've got a few little touches and tweaks and a beautiful last phase by Stephen Tucker as well. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Hi there, I'm Liam and I'm going to show you a cheeky little gambling scam. Now we've all seen the three-shell game and the three-card Monty and stuff like that, but they rely on manual dexterity, people being able to do clever things with their hands. This doesn't. This relies on just being able to read people and sort of foreshadow their reactions. So it's all disguised as a little game, and it looks like a game that you can't lose, like they all do. So it's going to be very simple. I've got 5 cards. You don't have to worry about the suits, just the numbers 1 to 5. And I'm going to give you this chip, or this coin, or this banknote, and you could win this. All you need to do is to place the item onto any one of these cards, and you will get that number of moves. So if you place it on the 1, you get to move the chip once, either left or right. If you place it on the 2, you get to move it 2 times, left or right, back and forth. If you get a bigger number, you can skittle back and forth, or you can go all the way to the end and back, whatever you want to do. Totally your call. So let's say the spectator places it on the 4, first of all. They then get 4 moves. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. Say perfect. Now, let's see how you did, because you had a 4 out of 5 chance of winning. If you'd landed on the ace or the 2 or the 3 or the 5, you would have won the chip. But let's see how you did. Well, sorry about that. You lose. But don't worry. Fear not, my friend, because we can play again, and this time with bigger cards for a bigger stake, and you'll get more moves, so it's even more random. So go for it. Let's say they drop here and they go 7, so you get 7 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Say here. Perfect. And just like before, you had a 4 out of 5 chance you could have won if you'd have picked the 5 or the 7 or the 8 or the 9. But unfortunately, you didn't. You picked the 6, and you would have won unless you chose the 6. Sorry about that. I better keep that money as well. But as I like you, as it's you, I'll give you one last chance. And this time we've just got a bunch of odd cards, so you can place the chip anywhere you like, and you get that number of moves. Let's say they place it on the queen. So, well, the queen doesn't actually have a number value, so you can spell queen 1 space per letter. So you go Q, U, E, E, N, for example. So I'll tell you what. Let's increase your chances. Here's the 2 chips from last time. You can play with those as well. So you place that on the 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and drop that one on the 2, for example, and you could go 1, 2, like that. So I gave you 3 chances to win. This time the odds weren't quite so much in your favour, but I still would have thought you'd have done pretty well, because if you'd have landed here, you would have won, here you'd have won, here you would have won. But I've got a horrible feeling that I'll just have to wish you better luck next time we play. So there you go. Thanks for playing Kane's Variant, and I look forward to playing you again for money. So now we're going to take a look at how Variant works and the bits and pieces that you need to perform it. So you can easily make this all up from one deck, by the way, but I'm going to show you, we've got some different colour backs and things, but how you set it up is up to you. So you need 3 sets of 5 cards. The first set is an ace to 5 of any suit. It doesn't matter which suit you have. So we've got diamonds here. Then you have another set, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of another suit. So I've got these in spades. And then finally, we've got 5 random looking cards, but they're actually not random at all. You can interchange the values, but for now, just assume you've got a queen, a 4, a 7, a 2, and a 5. Worth digging those out. So to prepare each set, because each one is used for one phase of the routine, what you do is on the back of the odd cards, you write the word win, which I've done here on blue-backed cards. And then on the even value cards, I've written lose and made them red-backed, which I think is really, really good, and just really clarifies what's going on here, even if people are too far away to read the writing. So you do the same on the next set. but this time we've written something different on there. I've written unless you choose the 6 or unless you choose the 8. That's just to make the routine build a little bit, like you've predicted exactly where they'll stop. But you could put lose again or whatever on those, customize them how you like. And then the same with the last set. The Queen counts as an odd card because it has 5 letters in the name and you use that to spell. The 7 and 5 are obviously odd, so again, they all have win. And then you have a different message on the last one, so I've just got better luck next time. And then when you've got those all written out, then you're ready to rock and roll. You just need to stack them up in order in each set of 5. So how you do that, again, doesn't matter. Just as long as they're in numerical order, it doesn't matter if they're running from top to bottom or the other way. And you pop those into your wallet. And as long as you've got 3 coins or 3 poker chips or 3 banknotes or an IOU or anything like that, then you're ready to perform Variant. So now let's take a look at the basic principle of Variant. And we're going to explain sort of how it works and why it works as well, because it's actually really customizable. As you'll see in the booklet, there's lots of different ideas and routines and themes. You don't have to even use cards. You can use colours, celebrities, anything you like. But for now, let's show you how the actual principle works. So the first thing to explain is the rules of the game as your spectator sees them. And that is this. You have a set of cards numbered 1 to 5. They drop a coin or a poker chip onto any of the cards, and they get that number of moves. And they can move the chip either backwards or forwards, however they like. So that's the game. Let's say they drop it onto the 4. They can then make 4 moves. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. The cool part about the Variant procedure is that they will always land on one of 2 false cards. That's the only possibilities that there are. So let me demonstrate that now with the cards down here. You see, if they place the chip on the 1 and make 1 move, they end up on the 2. It's the 2 and the 4 that are the false cards. If they place the chip on the 2, they count 1, 2, or 1, 2. They can only land on the even cards. The same with the 3. 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3. And likewise for the 4 and the 5. Now, the reason this works is basically just a really simple mathematical principle where if you double an odd number, you get an even result. And if you double an even number, you get an even result. So it's impossible to double any number and land on an odd result. And that's actually what the principle is here. So if they're placing the thing on the chip on the 3, they're then making 3 moves, which is essentially doubling the value of the 3 to make it 6, which means that they're going to end up on one of the even numbers. It sounds a bit confusing, but it does make sense if you think it out. And that's where the customization comes into it, because you don't have to use card values. You can use names or any sort of words that you spell. They can just move the chip per letter instead of per number value. And the same principle is still applies. So here's a really brief explanation of how it works, and here's how you'd do the first phase. You'd lay out the 5 cards, you'd give them the first chip, and you say, or a coin, or anything that's going to be your wager, and you say, drop it onto any of the cards. So let's say they drop it on the 5. You say, great, that means you get 5 moves. You can move back and forth however you want. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and end up on the 2. What we're going to do now is show that all the other cards say win, while concealing this one that says lose. So what you do is you pick up always from the end nearest the chip. So in this case, the ace is nearer the chip. So you pick up the ace, then the 3, you leave that one on the table, then the 4, and then the 5, and that positions the cards for an Elmsley count. So when you flip the cards over, we now Elmsley count the packet to show that all the other cards say win. There's win, win, win. Let's see how you did. You move the chip off the card and turn it over. You lose. Sorry about that. And of course, the same principle works whichever even card they end up on. So just as another really quick example for you, let's say that they end up on the other card. So they put it here, they put the chip on the 5, and they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You pick up from the end nearest the chip. And that again places the 2, the even card, third down from the top when you flip them face down. So you can Elmsley count again to show that all the cards say win. And of course, their selection loses. So that's the basic principle. You've already seen the setup for the packets that we're going to have as well. So now we can go straight into the performance. So here's how you perform variant. Start off by having 3 coins or 3 poker chips, whatever your wager is going to be. 3 folded banknotes works great. And your packet of cards that we've already discussed in this order, all ready to rock and roll. You start off by introducing the game. So I'm basically going to show you a little gambling game or scam that you can influence. And you can frame this one of 2 ways. You can either pitch it as a scam like the 3-card Monty and kind of go, this is a game that you can't win no matter what, which is quite compelling and interesting. Or you can pitch it as a mentalism thing. You're going to say, here's a really simple game that we're going to play, and I'm going to try and read your reactions. I'm going to try and foresee how you're going to progress through the game, and that's why I've got this money, the wager here. So how you play it is up to you. I kind of take a middle ground and kind of like a con game that seems like there must be something more going on behind it. So let me show you something really cool. Let's just use 5 cards. So I deal these 5 cards out. I say it's basically like a board game. I'm going to give you a chip or a coin or whatever, and you drop it onto one of the cards, and whatever number that card has, you get that many moves, moving left or right, back and forth, however you want. So they understand, you give them the chip, and they drop it onto one of the cards, so say the 3. So now make 3 moves, back and forth, however you like. So they go 1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect. Obviously, you could have landed on any of these cards, and you had actually a 4 out of 5 chance of winning, because if you'd have landed on any of these cards, you would have won. You'd have won, you'd have won, you'd have won. Let's see how you did. Unfortunately, you lose. Sorry about that. So then you say, don't worry though, we'll give you another chance. So I like to table these cards off to one side, set up so they can still see the bit that say win and lose, but out of the main picture. So you pick up the packet again, and then you deal out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You say, this time we'll play again, but you'll get more moves, because we're using bigger numbers. So now bring out the other coin, a second coin. If you're using, you can get by with just 1 coin and recycling it, but the reason we're using 3 is for Stephen Tucker's killer final phase, so it all ties in. But like I say, you've got a lot of scope for customization and personalization here. So give the spectator the same chip and say, which one do you want to have a go on? Or a second spectator would be good. Involve as many people as you can. So they say put it on the 8, and you say so you get 8 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, for example. You say perfect. Again, same sort of situation. I really wanted you to win, and you had a 4 out of 5 chance of winning, but unfortunately, it looked like you would have won unless you chose the 6. Sorry about that. So you place those off to one side as well. And then we come to the final phase, and this is Stephen Tucker's variant of Peter Kane's variant, and it is a little touch of genius here. So you say this time we're going to deal out 5 cards, and these are random. So this time it's a little bit less organised. You can drop the chip on anyone, and you get that number of moves. So let's say they drop it on the 2. They make their 2 moves. You go 1, 2. So okay, that's cool. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you 2 guys play as well? So another spectator drops another chip on any card. So let's say they put that on the Queen. Say, well, the Queen doesn't have a value, so why don't you spell Queen 1 space per letter? So they go Q, U, E, E, N, for example. And you say, and 1 last go for you. So they drop it on the 7, and they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, excellent. This time, all 3 of you guys have tried to play. You've ended up in different places. If you'd gone here, here, or here, I'd be handing you my cash, but unfortunately for you guys, just have to wish you better luck next time. So there you have it. That's our sort of finessed routine for the genius-inspired Peter Kane's variant. I hope you really enjoy it. It's one of my favourite tricks. I think it's really clever, really interesting and compelling, and just fun. It's just really good fun to do. So I hope you enjoy it. So there's one contingency I want to show you with Stephen Tucker's final version. I've not actually had it come up yet, but there is the possibility that all 3 people end up on the same false card. I've had it before where 2 people have ended up on it, and then what tends to happen is the third person, say they go place here, they tend to avoid that one on purpose, and then because of the principle, always end up on the last card. And that's the ideal situation, because then you've got no counts, no moves to do, and it's completely examinable at the end, whereas the other 2 packets haven't been, but no one need know that. But you do get it, or it could be possible that someone, all 3 people end up on the same card. If they do that, then that's fine. You'll get quite an effect out of that, just from the fact they've all ended up in the same place when they could have ended up somewhere different. But then you have to do the original handling. You obviously can't just turn these cards over because this one has got better luck next time on it. So what you do in that case is you push forward and then you do the same handling again. You pick up the others and say, you flip them face down. So even with all 3 of you having a go, you could have won 1-1-1, but better luck next time. So the handling stays the same in the event that all 3 people land on the same false card, but I've not actually had that experience myself. In my experience, people tend to avoid it, and then you end clean, so it's even better. So, what happens if you see the variant trick and you go, wow, that is an awesome trick, Peter Kane was a genius, but I don't know the Elmsley count, or I haven't put as much work into my Elmsley count as I probably should have done. Well, fear not, brave traveller, because there is an alternative that you can do. You can basically use a technique called the Olram subtlety, which is an Ed Marlowe idea, because Olram is Marlowe spelt backwards. That's where the thing comes from. It's not a count, it's a kind of display, and as such, it actually works really well in variant, and it's much, much easier to do than the Elmsley count. It's not even really a sleight of hand move. It's more just the choreography of it. I'm sure people would debate that, but I wouldn't even class it as a secret move. So here's what you do. Let's just use our 5 diamonds for an example. They put the chip on the 4, and they make 4 moves. They go 1, 2, 3, 4. To use the Olram subtlety, what we're going to do is pick up the cards exactly the same way as we did before. So always starting from the end where the chip is nearest. And then you lift off. So this is the whole situation. You're holding them in the left hand. Your right hand takes the top card off, and you turn both hands over to show win. Okay? And you turn them both over, back again, and you thumb off the top card of the left-hand packet at the same time as you ditch the right-hand card. So it looks like this. You turn over and you say, if you'd have picked one of these, you'd have won. And then you take both and show these, and they both show win as well. Then you'd have won, but you picked this one, and sucks to be you, or whatever your patter is going to be. So just to run you through, I'll show you it again at full speed, and then I'll show you it again in real time. So in full speed, it says, if you'd have picked one of these, you would have won. And then breaking that action down so you can see what's happening is you're taking the top card off and showing it, turning over the whole left hand and showing the back of the bottom card, and that's what's deceptive. When you turn these back over, you deal this one down, deal this one down, and of course you've concealed the back of that. And then the last 2 you can show completely fairly however you like. So very clever subtlety. It's used in the 8-card brainwave trick and loads of other little tricks. But it actually fits variant quite well because you don't need to count the cards, so there's no counting action, so the display works quite nicely.